Hello, my name is Travis West, and these are my colleagues,
Carmen Henry,
and Kyle Kreiner.
Today we are going to be discussing implementing a spray paint booth into our facility.
Hi, I'm here to talk about why we should implement and install the equipment we have provided for the new spray paint booth area. We have used a risk assessment matrix to help justify the means of why we need to install this equipment. Our first potential hazard is a very serious one, and it's an explosion of combustible materials. Due to flammable vapors being throughout the entire box for the spraying area, a ventilation system would help remove the content of this vapor, therefore making it less of an ignitable atmosphere. Next is a skin exposure that could cause serious harm, but due to PPE and a ventilation system, this is a very low chance of happening. Next is a chance of inhalation. With the ventilation system and proper PPE, this could be avoided, but due to it being a vapor throughout the entire box, it is a serious hazard. All of these can be easily mitigated, and fire chances and personnel injuries can be reduced as long as we install this ventilation system and proper filtration. The next two topics I have discussed is the sources of ignition and an ignitable atmosphere. To reduce the chances of ignition, we have installed all of the electrical wiring behind the walls so there could be no chances of buildup from the spray deposits. The wire should also be for Class 1, Division 1, Class 1, Zone 1, and Division 2, Class 2, Division 1. This would help with the chances of avoiding a fire due to an electrical malfunction. The ventilation system will also help with removing a lot of the vapors from the atmosphere and therefore filtering out the particles in the air, leaving less of a chance to have a deposit. All of this will be avoided though because our electrical wiring will be behind the walls and cannot be exposed to the particles in the first place. I have cited all of the NFPA and OSHA standards throughout my slides to help justify why we need to have this equipment installed. To reduce the chances of ignitable atmosphere, Travis has mentioned later in the video about the ventilation system he has provided. The ventilation system will help remove the particles, but there will also be a special filter to help trap these particles so they do not keep throwing throughout the entire system, leaving a trace amount of dust that could be ignited if there were friction caused by particles rubbing together or a malfunction in the equipment. Overall, all of these are very important in reducing a fire and harm of personnel to keep our personnel safe, lower our insurance rates, and mitigating a fire. Next, I'll pass it on to my colleague.
So I'm going to talk about limitation of available fuel. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to limit the amount of polyurethane coating inside of the spray area. That way there's only enough there that the worker can complete the task rather than having too much there, which would cause an overexposure. With all the extra coating, we would keep inside of a separate storage cabinet outside of the facility. And after researching, I found a 55-gallon drum safety cabinet, and for this we would want to purchase 2 of them. That way we could store the extra coating as well as one of the containers of methyl ethyl ketone. So a little bit about these safety cabinets is they meet OSHA and NFPA 30 and UFC 79 standards. So they all have welded double wall 18 gauge doors that are 1.5 inches thick. They have 2-inch leak-proof sills, and they have 3 blocking points on side of the doors. They also have a grounding connector, which obviously would eliminate any potential for ignition sources. The next thing I want to talk about is the isolation of the process. So under NFPA 33.5.3, it says that a minimum of 3 feet has to be between the outside wall of every spray booth as well as between the roof of the spray booth and the ceiling of the facility. OSHA also says that adequate guarding has to be in place, whether that be booths, fencing, railings, or any other type of guard. These guards have to be made out of conductive material that is properly grounded to eliminate possible friction with ignition sources.
The two topics that I'm covering are explosion prevention and etiquette means of extinguishing a fire. The first topic was explosion prevention. Our idea was to try to remove any sources of spark that could cause a fire or an explosion in the paint booth. According to OSHA standard 1926-66D4, the fan rotating element standard, a fan should be non-sparking and have enough clearance away from the duct to not cause any rubbing or cause unnecessary heat that could cause a fire. The bearings should also be self-lubricating or be outside of the duct so they can easily be lubricated. According to standard 1926-66D3, independent exhaust states that each spray booth should have an independent exhaust fan to exhaust all the chemicals and fumes out of the spray booth. To solve this problem, we decided that we could get one of two fans. One is a dome explosion-proof roof fan which mounts to the roof of the building and would remove all the chemicals out of the spray booth. It has a 12-inch blade and can remove 1,804 cubic feet per minute of air and would cost around $980. Our other option was getting an explosion-proof filtered exhaust fan which would mount to the wall. This would filter out all the bad chemicals and remove them to the outside of the building while not dispersing bad chemicals into the environment. It has a 16-inch blade and can remove 2,000 CFMs of air per minute. This unit would cost around $1,600. The next topic to be discussed was lighting. According to OSHA standard 1926-66B10, the illumination standard, it stated that only fixed lighting units should be used in a spray booth. These lighting units should have covers over them so particles and overspray does not accumulate on the lights, which could heat up and cause a fire. One option was to get 4 LED lighting systems, which would have 4 LED bulbs each and cost about $440 each. We would need around 4 of these units to light up the spray booth. These come with a cover to protect the lights and reduce fires. Or we could get explosion-proof lights, which do not have a cover, so we would have to purchase optional covers to keep it safe and keep debris from accumulating. The explosion-proof lights would cost around $1,800. Another option is to get lens film, which would go over the covers for the lights and reduce the buildup on the lens and keep light output as good as possible in the booth. The last topic was extinguishing a fire. According to OSHA standard 1926-66E12, all areas used for spraying should include a self-extinguishing fire system. To solve this problem, we decided the best bet would be to get a Pyrochem Monarch fire system. This system uses dry chemical fire extinguishing solution, which would be mounted outside of the spray booth. It would operate just like a normal fire extinguishing system in a house or office, so if their fire burst out, a thermostat would break, causing the dry chemicals to be released. Also, if there was a fire and the system did not automatically pick it up, the worker could run outside and turn the fire extinguishing system on. This product would cost around $4,000.